In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a $1,400 fourth stimulus check specifically focused on Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, spousal, SSI, VA, RRB, low income, no income, seniors, older adults, and of course, people with disabilities, as well as how much. I have all the details for you right here in the video. Let's get into it and discuss what's going on. All right, the infamous $1,400 fourth stimulus check that I get questions about literally every single day down below in the comment section from many people right here in the community. But I do want to focus on how this is specifically focused on those individuals I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And like I said, exactly how much. This is a good question because it's actually very interesting to see what's going on and very surprising with the information I want to share with you right here in this video. So with that being said, let's jump into it and talk through all the numbers and again, all the beneficiaries I mentioned a couple times so far. So let's jump into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you have not done so yet, or if you happen to be new here, will you please make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button right down below the video. Join the other nearly 500,000 people here on the channel that have already subscribed with that button down below. Thank you. I truly do appreciate it. I'm watching the headlines every day, watching all the details, all the new announcements, bills, packages, proposals, anything coming out right now, advocating on your behalf, answering all your questions, and again, bringing it all to your attention as far as what is actually going on as things are changing super rapidly. I think we all know this. It's a weird time out there, a lot of weird announcements, a lot of changes that they're trying to implement. And again, I want to point out anything right now you can possibly grab or take advantage of, like money, raises to benefits, checks, monthly checks, again, anything pertaining to money and improving your lifestyle and your livelihood. Again, we all need that right now, because how many of us have any money right now? I think we can all say it together. Not me, right? Yeah, that's the situation for a lot of people, and unfortunately, it's a rough time out there. Anyway, I'll be here for you no matter what every single day. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about it. All right, so as I mentioned, the infamous $1,400 fourth stimulus check. I literally get questions about this every single day. Look down below in the comment section. I guarantee you on this video as well, there will be people asking all kinds of questions. When are we getting it? How much is it going to be? All kinds of things like this. I guarantee you 100% there'll be questions literally on this video talking about all the details about it. Anyway, so let me explain exactly what I want to share with you here in this video. So it's very interesting to see this situation playing out because what has happened, I don't know, over the last 6 months, the last year, year and a half, maybe 2 years or so. How much money has, I don't know, the federal government spent and handed out / given away to all kinds of different things, I don't know, domestically, internationally, things like this. Again, put any dollar amount on it, but just keep that kind of dollar amount in your mind. You're probably thinking, I don't know, like $500 billion, $1 trillion, something like this. I don't know what the exact number is, but I can tell you this much. It's way, way, way more than the numbers I'm going to share with you here in this video. I can guarantee you that, okay? I know for a fact it is, okay? Anyway, let me share with you really quickly, okay? So right now, does every single person across the entire country need a stimulus check? The answer is no. Not a chance. Not happening, okay? Here's why. Does every single person, all 334 million people across the entire country need a $1,400 check? That's not even close to true. No. In fact, the majority of the population probably doesn't need one. However, who really does need a check right now? Well, it's the people I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's the low income. It's the fixed income. It's the seniors. It's people with disabilities. It's people living on Social Security, retirement, SSDI, survivors, spousal, SSI, VA, the RRB benefits. But again, do all of these beneficiaries need a check as well? The simple answer is no. All of these beneficiaries don't even need a check. For example, let's just say a Social Security retirement beneficiary who's getting, I don't know, $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 plus a month. Do they need a $1,400 check? I'm saying probably not. I mean, fine, some maybe do, some might need that, but I would say the vast majority, probably not, right? Now, here's what's interesting about it. Right now, there's about 40 million people all across the country living in poverty. Believe it or not, 40 million people living in poverty right now as we speak, okay? It's about 13% of our population living in poverty, okay? That's as of right now. Now, how many low income, fixed income, again, beneficiaries that I mentioned earlier are also living either at the poverty line, below the poverty line, or barely scraping by above it, right? A lot of people as well. If we look at all these different numbers right now, including people living in poverty and people that are very low income, barely above poverty, we're looking at about 100 million people. I know that sounds nuts. Like seriously, 100 million people, nearly a third of our population. Yes, if we look at all the numbers right now, we can clearly see about 100 million people right now are living on a very, very small income, a very small amount, of money, or basically living in poverty. That's 100 million people. That is nuts, okay? That's almost a third of our population. So go walk around the street. For every 3 people you see, about one of them is living in poverty or very close to it, like that, okay? It's a lot of people that are really, really struggling financially right now. So that's why I said earlier in this video, I wanted to say how much. Check this out. How much do you think it would cost to send out a one-off $1,400 stimulus check to, say, 50 million people? Just 50 million people. That's maybe, what is that? A sixth? It's about a seventh of our population. It's about 1/7 of our population, okay? 1 in 7 people. How much do you think it'd cost? It cost about $70 billion. Okay, now if we look at it that way, we think, oh wow, $70 billion, that's a ton of money. No, it's not. It's nothing. Okay, that's like nothing. There's multiple people in this country that could literally write a personal check for $70 billion. That's how little amount of money that is. There's people in this country that can literally write a check personally for that amount of money, okay? There's people out there that can write multiple checks for that amount of money. That's crazy and super cool, okay? But my point is, $70 billion for 50 million people to get a one-off $1,400 check is not much at all. This is not that big of a deal. Now, how much would it cost to send out a $1,400 one-off check for 100 million people that are low income or fixed income? Well, it'd be 70 multiplied by 2, which is $140 billion. Now, again, that's not a small amount of money, but it's also not a huge amount of money either, considering how much money has been sent out to all kinds of other things, domestically, internationally, globally, whatever, over the last, year and a half, whatever it happens to be, right? A lot more than $140 billion, right? So my point is, like I said at the beginning of this video, does everybody need a stimulus check right now? No. Okay, you've heard me say this before in other videos. I am all pro stimulus checks. I'm 100% pro stimulus check. But does everybody need it? No, I am definitely not pro stimulus checks to everybody, because everybody does not need them, okay? We're going to see a massive problem like we've seen over the last couple of years here with massive inflation, massive supply chain issues, all kinds of problems that we've seen from too much money going out to too many people. But a highly focused check to maybe 50 million, maybe 100 million people that would not cost that much money would really, really help out the people that actually need it. And it would not go out to the people that don't need it, but just want to buy things like shoes and TVs and clothes and all kinds of stuff like that, right? And go to the casino. Let's just be real, right? That is a thing too as well, okay? So my point is, this is all it would cost, $70 billion for 50 million people to get a one-off check, $140 billion for 100 million people to get a one-off check. Now, let's just say that we wanted to double. Let's just say they wanted to send out 2 checks, $1,400 one month, and the next month later send out another $1,400. Or they wanted to do it for 3 months, something like that. Okay, let's just say they wanted to send out 3 $1,400 checks for 50 million people. How much would that cost? $210 billion. Okay, let me put it into perspective really quickly here. The last stimulus check that we got back in, March and April of 2021, how much do you think that one cost? It was a $1,400 check that went out to 85% of the population. How much did it cost? $358 billion, okay? So that one check, one $1,400 check that went to 85% of the population cost $358 billion. And here we're talking about 3 $1,400 checks going out to 50 million low-income, fixed-income individuals, and this would cost $210 billion, a difference of $140 billion. They could effectively send out 5 $1,400 stimulus checks. Yeah, 5 $1,400 stimulus checks for 50 million people at the same price tag that it cost the last one-off $1,400 check for 85% of the population, $350 billion. You see the point here? This is massive. I mean, seriously, has anybody run the math on this other than me, okay? This is all it comes down to. This is not difficult math, okay? I can run this stuff in my head. It's not that big of a deal running very simple numbers here. My point is, has anybody run the math on this? For all the people that are struggling right now, Would this really be that big of a deal to help out that many people right now? This would be a huge, huge win politically, and global, or well, I suppose globally as well, but domestically, this would be a huge win for a lot of people. It'd be a huge win for the economy. It'd be a huge win for the people receiving these checks. It'd be a huge win for a lot of people right now, and it's not that hard to figure out, right? Now, here's another cool thing about it. Do you think that this would actually cause inflation? Depends, okay? I kind of sit on the fence on this. It totally depends. If they were to send out a one-off $1,400 check for 50 million people, my response to that would be no, minimal, okay? Inflation on that, in my opinion, would be very negligible. It'd be very, very minimal inflation on that amount. If they sent out two $1,400 checks to, say, 50 million people at a cost of $140 billion, would this cause inflation? Maybe, again, a teeny tiny bit, maybe a little bit in isolated areas where you see high densities of low income or fixed income people, where they're all rushing the stores, buying groceries and clothes and, New Balance shoes and things like this, okay? Maybe we would see some isolated inflation in some selective areas. But if they were to get to be, say, 3, 4, 5 checks, something like this, and we get up into these big numbers like $210 billion, $280 billion, $350 billion, then my answer to that would be, yeah, there would certainly be some inflation. Would it be 9.1% inflation like what we saw back in, June of 2022? My answer would be, I don't think that high. No, not nearly. Why? Because we have a selective group of people that are buying things, food, clothes, shelter, utility costs, paying down debts, stuff like this. They're using the money to do those types of things. Healthcare costs, that'd be another big one as well, paying off medical debts and stuff like that. Would this really be all that inflationary? Yes, somewhat. But massively inflationary like what we saw over the last couple of years here? No. In my opinion, no, it would not be all that inflationary. Maybe a point, maybe a point and a half of inflation. Oh, wow. We're seeing that on a regular basis anyway right now. We're seeing that right now no matter what, just living our normal lives with no money, okay? We're already seeing that. So would it really be that big of a deal at the end of the day? No. So my point is, when it comes down to additional stimulus going forward, if they play their cards right, going forward next time, and with the next major economic downturn, the major recession on our doorstep, if they play their cards right, in my opinion, checks should not be going to 85% of the population. Checks should be going to about 20, maybe 25% of the population. That's it, okay? That's about it. And it should be highly, highly focused on the low income, the fixed income. We've seen study after study now showing that sending money out to these individuals that receive low income, fixed income, these people, sending checks out to these individuals is the highest return on the money, right? They see the highest return on the money because it gets spent fast. It gets spent on goods and services, it's deployed very quickly, and it helps stimulate, but it does not overheat the economy and cause massive inflation like what we've seen over the last couple of years. Make sense? I could sit here and ramble on about this for hours, literally. It's so fascinating to me. I find this to be very interesting. And again, it's just very simple math, very simple logic. It does not take some mathematician. It doesn't take some rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. Just look at the data. The data tells us what's going on here. The data shows us exactly where the money should be deployed and how much. That's it. Not that hard to figure out, right? Anyway, I hope this helps you. As always, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to stick that down below in the comment section, right down below. Totally free to do so. Share the video. Again, totally free to do so. There's a share button down below. Please subscribe if you have not done so yet. Subscribe button right down below. Otherwise, check out any of the other videos here on the channel, including the thousands in the video library. Those I've hand selected for you down below in the description or the top of the comment section. And right now, popping up on your screen, you'll see some videos there as well. So go ahead and make your selection. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate your support. I'll catch you again later in the next video. Take care, and I'll see you again in just a second in the next video.